Hello, everyone. I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney, and today we're talking about your spouse. No, we're not. We're not getting into matrimonial law. We're not divorce attorneys. But spouses, husbands, wives, they pop up a lot. Partners, they pop up a lot in employment litigation because they often feel very involved in a variety of different ways, right? They feel protective, they feel angry, they want revenge for what was done to you, or they want revenge because somebody was, hitting on their life mate. And it can get a little bit messy, right? So I'm going to cover a couple of situations that we often see in the course of employment litigation, workplace discrimination cases, workplace sexual harassment cases, and just kind of touch on why the spousal involvement's not always ideal, not really the best thing, or sometimes just something that our firm can't really deal with for you. We don't manage your spouse, your partner, your life mate. We just don't manage that human being for you. It's not part of our job. So let's start off with this. If you have someone who is not your spouse, and you have them hop on a call or in a meeting with your attorney, there is a very good chance that attorney-client privilege may not attach to whatever conversations that individual who is not your spouse witnesses, because they don't have spousal privilege. So, you're not going to have the same level of confidentiality that you might. That's actually okay. That's up to you. It's not okay. It could be problematic. That's why we have to warn you about it. But in certain situations, as long as you're aware of that and you knowingly waive that protection, that is something we can accept, right? We don't mind you having someone there with you, so long as you're aware that this is going on, that you're losing a little bit of a protection, and you're making that choice consciously, saying, okay, but it's worth it for me to have this person's perspective or this person's moral support. Okay, you made an informed choice. I respect that. You're the boss. The next one is one drives, I think, all employment attorneys wild. You come in, you tell us, you kind of talk to us, you tell us what you experienced, what was done to you in the workplace, you tell us about the sexual harassment, the workplace discrimination, how they treated you after your pregnancy, who knows, right? You tell us the story. And then you say, hey, I'm so glad I hired you. Things are going great, but my spouse is going to tell you the rest of my story. No, your spouse is not going to tell us the rest of the story, because your spouse wasn't there. Your spouse doesn't go to work with you. Your spouse wasn't present for all of the events. They didn't feel the things you felt. They didn't hear the things you heard. They didn't know who was present. They didn't see what time of day it happened. They didn't make excited utterances. They didn't live the experience. So you can say, yeah, my spouse manages everything for me. That's a personal choice. You're free to make that personal choice. Your spouse does not live your story. Therefore, your spouse does not share your story. Your spouse can be present while you share your story. Your spouse can remind you of things, but we're not going to sit down with your spouse and take dictation from your spouse about events that your spouse did not live through. That seems fairly obvious to me. That is very frustrating to some human beings. Some human beings say, my life mate will speak for me, and you'll accept it. Nah, not a thing. Not going to happen. You lived it. You tell us. If you have a disability that we can accommodate, that's a conversation. But if you just don't feel like telling us your story, no. Not a thing. Never going to be a thing. Never going to happen. Accept it or don't hire us. And that's okay too, right? You can hire someone else who will listen to someone who didn't live these events talk about them, and you'll then have potentially a crappier case because the person who lived the events did not actually recount them, and so there's going to be lots of flaws in the story, and you're introducing tons of risk. That's okay. That's your right. Don't hire us. We're not interested in adding risk to your case. Next. My spouse will decide the settlement. My life mate will decide the settlement. Don't ask me. Ask my partner. No. Your partner's not my boss. You are. I work for you. You're the person who had things done to them. You're the person who suffered. You're the person, the human being, with a claim. You call. Now, you can make that decision together with your life mate. That's your call. You can even you may choose to live your life in a way where your life mate tells you what to do. None of my business. That's your call. I don't substitute my judgment for yours. I'd be a real jerk if I did. I have no idea how you've chosen to live your life. I have no idea how you've built the world you live in, your existence, or the people around you, how you chose them, right? You may have hired a tactical genius to be your life partner, right? You may have done that, and that is your call, that is your right, but you will convey your directives to my firm because you are our boss. We do not take orders from overbearing life mates. It's just the end. We can't. We don't work for them. We work for you. You can tell us, but she or he pays the bill. Okay. That's between you two. We work for you. You are the name on the retainer agreement. You are the client with the claim. You are the person we act on the orders of. Okay? This one's a doozy. We're not divorce attorneys. We will never be divorce attorneys. I know a lot of divorce attorneys. I think the world of them. I have no idea how they do it. The life of a divorce attorney is nightmarish. Nightmarish. It's really rough. I don't know how they do it. Hey, so thinking about divorcing my spouse, and I know I've got a big settlement coming. You know, we're negotiating. It looks like I'm going to get a big check from my employer for this case, but I want to be sure my spouse. And I say spouse in this one not because I'm excluding the partners and life mates, but because often the economic factors don't enter into partner or life mate arrangements quite as much as they do into spousal arrangements. I'm going to get a big check in this settlement. We don't know how much yet. It's not done yet. But I want to structure it in a way to make sure I can defraud my spouse and they won't get anything when I divorce them. I'm not your matrimonial attorney. I will never be your matrimonial attorney. You couldn't pay me. You literally could not pay me to represent you in your divorce. If you have a divorce attorney and your divorce attorney wants to give us some structure, some thoughts on how we could structure your settlement agreement, we are open to that. As long as it complies with the law, as handed down by the IRS and the various statutes. And where it doesn't, we'll say, no, we can't do that. And where it departs from kind of industry practice, that's going to clue in defense counsel that maybe something's going on and put you at risk of defense attorneys, trying to mess with you and stuff like that. We'll say that to you and to the matrimonial attorney. We'll say, hey, listen, this is going to really turn some heads here. This is very strange what you're doing. And it's going to clue people in that you're up to something. And one, it could blow up your settlement. Two, you're giving them some ability to know that you're up to something, and that's concerning. So it's a risk you can take if you want, but I don't recommend it in some of these situations, right? That's your call. You make those decisions. People often say, it won't turn into anything. Really? I mean, divorces get kind of ugly sometimes. I don't know. Just something to think about. Something to think about. We're not going to be the ones who create the plan for you as to how to defraud your spouse. It's just not our job, not our expertise. We wouldn't be the best people to do it, and we wouldn't then do it. Next one is, I need you to lie to my spouse or my partner or my life mate. This is really problematic. And what you're doing is you're asking someone who needs to keep your real and true story in her or his head perfectly available to fight and debate and argue and, out logic the other side. That they need all of the events of your case at their fingertips. at all times. What you're saying is, hey, I did some stuff I'm not proud of, and I'm going to need you to keep not just the real events of my situation in your head, because that's what you do for a living. That's how you help me. I need you to also keep some departures from truth in your head, not for the other side. I wouldn't lie in my litigation, but I want to lie to my partner. No, we're not doing that for you. We have no interest in doing that for you. It's not because we don't want to help you. We do want to help you with your case in which you were sexually harassed or discriminated against in the workplace. But by helping support fibs, your alternate stories, whatever it is, we're doing two things. We're polluting our minds with alternate versions of events, fake versions of events. What are fake versions of events in our industry? They are poison. Any departure from the absolute truth is poison. It's poison to you. It's poison to your claims. It's poison to us. Everyone will be harmed by that. But I do have a consolation prize. I can tell you, hey, we're not going to talk to your spouse because we don't work for your spouse or your life partner or your partner or your life mate, right? We don't work for that person, so we're not going to take their calls, and just tell them that, hey, my attorneys are really strict about, attorney-client privilege, which we really are, and they're not going to talk to you. They're not going to take your calls. Sometimes we get the call back from our clients saying, hey, my life mate's really upset about that, and they want me to put something in writing that demands that you speak to them. No. Don't do it. Because we're not going to keep fake versions of events in our minds. We're not going to engage in anything but the absolute truth. So if you want to hide things from your life mate, don't let them speak to us. Very simple. I'm sorry if that's not convenient. If you would like an attorney to keep fake versions of your story in their head and tell lies for you, hire someone else. It's not a knock on you, but just it's not something we're going to do. Ever. Okay? So generally, our policy is just not to communicate with spouses or life mates or partners. They're not our client. They didn't experience what you experienced. They can't convey the events that you lived. They didn't experience the same harms that you experienced. They may, as your life mate, have also been harmed, right? That's real. If you're going through something really horrible in the workplace, it makes sense to me that the other people in your life may also have been harmed indirectly. But they're not our client. And I can't help someone who's not my client. I can't help them be made whole. I can't help them feel good. I can't help them feel like they're in control of you or your situation or the claim. I cannot assist them with any of those things. I will not. I will not assist them with any of those things. You are my client. You are my boss. You are the person I care about. You are the person I have loyalty to. You are the person who knows that all of their conversations with me are confidential, unless specifically stated otherwise. Keep that in mind when you hire us. There are no exceptions to these rules. These are for your benefit, and they're very important. I hope everything's okay out there. Be safe and good luck.